You've said that we hit an inflection point last year in
We did.
2015. What is that inflection point? Why now?
Well, I think that for the last 5, 6, 7 years, we've talked to country leaders around the world. We've talked to CEOs of companies, and they've all known that something was going to happen. And I honestly believe that in the last 6, 9, 12 months, that we saw these leaders move from thinking about what's possible, and they've moved into how do I now execute against that. And I'll tell you that in the first 2 months of this year, I've actually sat down with 17 heads of state around the world to talk about what this technology does for their countries. How does it help them deliver citizen services, job creation, GDP growth, healthcare? It's going to change everything.
When you look at the numbers, it's pretty astonishing, right? So the Internet of Everything, you're going to have 50 billion connected devices by 2020.
Yes.
That's the prediction. And when you look at India, for example, right? Prime Minister Narendra Modi wants to digitize 100 smart cities in India. How does Cisco play into that? What does that mean?
The smart cities, when you think about the 100 smart cities in India, what you're fundamentally trying to do is, as a technology partner for Prime Minister Modi, it's most important for us to understand what his priorities are, and then how do we line up and help him go execute against those. And these smart cities are all about creating jobs, creating more efficient government. How do we deliver citizen services more effectively, ease traffic, all of those
And how do
things.
they look different than, say, my hometown of Minneapolis?
Simple things like the way we do waste management is the truck actually leaves in the morning, it stops at every trash can that it sees, and 30% of them might be empty, but it empties them anyway. So you put sensors in them, you know if they're empty or not, so you can drive, the productivity there, and you stop doing that. You have smart parking spaces. If you can simplify and show people where the open parking places are, then you ease traffic.
Are we
right?
doing that more outside of the United States than inside the United States?
Well, we have seen a significant uptake in this whole notion of digitization. We're engaged in efforts in France, Italy, UK, Germany.
But more there than here.
Outside now, what's happened is that in many cases, especially in the emerging countries like India, they have massive problems of scale that they're trying to solve.
Sure.
So they look at technology as the only way they can actually do that.
Yeah.
But we are beginning to see a lot of movement in the United States too. We see activity going in Chicago as an example with technology. There's a lot of interesting things that we're doing in New York and around the United States. So I think the U.S. is moving, but I'd say the rest of the world has been slightly ahead.
Sort of a wake-up call for us?
It is a bit.